So hello. Welcome back to my channel. Don't forget to like and subscribe and also support my small business at latricelimited.com. So I do have a question for you all today, and it is true crime exploitative? Let me know down in the comments down below. So I first got this whole idea because I was seeing people talk about on Twitter the new Jeffrey Dahmer Netflix story that they have. I was seeing people talk about it and saying how it's very much exploitative, how, obviously it's a money grab. Oh, they shouldn't be doing this because it's a real event. We shouldn't have reenactment. So I have some thoughts on this. I'm also going to, later on in this video, I'm actually going to be reviewing up to what I've seen. So I started watching it earlier today and I made it through, or almost through, episode 5. I had like 10 minutes left. Okay. So this tweet is a great example of how true crime in media has been twisted into a weird exploitative way of memorializing serial killers. This is not just a scene. This is a real life encounter that led to the brutal death of Ponerak Sinthasopho at the age of 14. Okay. So as you guys can see, and Netflix put up there, they were like, oh my goodness, this is one of the scenes. So throughout this whole drama series, see the life of the serial killer, infamous serial killer, Jeffrey Dahmer, and the different victims that he had. They said that he has eaten, killed 17 men / boys. And it was mostly Hispanic, Latino, you got Asian, and Black. Okay. Racism. Another one is homophobia. And another theme that they expressed was the lack thereof of proper police training. All right. So it was a lot of different things. But to go back to this tweet that I was seeing, and it made me really think, are true crimes, however you depict that, are they exploitative? And it really all just depends, in my opinion, of how it is done. Okay. So as we know, you go on YouTube, you have so many different people who do true crime as YouTube channels, as their business. Okay. A lot of these people, they go into depth figuring out, all as much information to a video. Okay. And it takes hours and hours. Yes, there are people who want to respect the family as well. I don't think that in of itself, just telling you information is exploitative. I don't think that at all. And this is kind of what this person was getting at in here, from my interpretation of it anyways, saying like, the fact that you even put this in here, oh my goodness, you're exploiting, this really happened to somebody. No, not necessarily. Okay. There are different debates that are going on online where people are talking about, the difference between like a documentary style. Hey, let me just give you, the interviews. Let me give you the police calls, this and that, different kinds of information that people who lived near this guy had. Or you would have like this where they're reenacting it. And I feel like people are more upset by the fact that there is a reenactment product that is available for people to see. The actor who actually plays Dahmer in here is Evan Peters. You guys may have recognized him if you've seen Quicksilver, for example, from one of the X-Men. And if you've seen any of the American Horror Stories, he's in like every single one of them. Okay. And he's a character actor. He is one of those guys that definitely does that. And he does it very well. Okay. His performance was great. His performance was eerie. There was moments where he wasn't looking at the camera. He wasn't looking at you, but he was like looking like right here. And then it was just like, but it was like he was looking at you. It was like, oh, wow, dude. Evan Peters, just already, he has these very, very dark brown eyes that almost look black. The very first time I seen it, I was like, wow, dude, your eyes, they look extremely black. So yes, he did the character very well in this. All right. So yes, I mean, throughout this whole series, yeah, you're going to see images that are disturbing. And you have a lot of people who are saying like, yes, the family is bothered by this. This is, a terrible thing to do. You shouldn't be doing this. We shouldn't have this. Well, and here is where I kind of disagree. So I was like, you know what? Let me go and start watching this show today because I do want to do a video on it. And let me just see what goes on. Okay. Like I said, I finished or almost finished episode 5. So I'm up to 5. Okay. I thought this was a like a docudrama movie where it was like 2 hours at most, 2.5. People making these long movies nowadays. Okay, so that's what I was thinking, probably like a 2.5 thing. There are 10 episodes, and each episode is almost an hour long. Okay, maybe you're looking at about 46 to an hour and 5, depending on what episode it is. Now, if you're, and I'm gonna just be real, okay, it may sound mean, whatever the case may be, but you're going out of your way to watch this thing, because if you watch the first episode and then you've seen that it was 10 episodes and you're like, each is 10, hour long, so we got 10 hours. Yeah, I'll watch everything and I'm gonna traumatize myself. That's dumb. I'm gonna just be real and say it, because, people making their money. Okay, let's just be real. The studios are making their money. And every time that you click on the next episode, you're saying, I'm okay with, this kind of content. I'm fine with it. So if you're one of those people that says, oh my goodness, I can't believe they're doing this. Oh, I hate it so much. Okay, click next episode. Let me see. That's part of the problem. If you are really bothered by this and you claim that you don't want to see this kind of stuff because it's exploitative, what I would say is don't watch it. Okay. Now, this kind of goes into my other point. So there are certain things that I personally don't like seeing. Okay. Whether it's real or not. Some things I don't like, that kind of satanic. I don't like the nuns and possession, horror. I don't like that kind of stuff. Not really. Chucky is different, but once you start getting into like the Annabelle regions and all that, I start getting like, yeesh, I don't want to watch it. I also prefer not to watch slave movies. I've seen Sankofa, Django, which I really didn't want to watch, but I was watching with somebody else. But I've seen Sankofa, Django, and just a little bit of The Color Purple, and that's about it. Okay, now that's it. I purposely go out of my way, and I actually seen Antebellum. Okay, but Sankofa did a way better job. But my point is this: I go out of my way not to watch this stuff. If I don't want to watch, the next 12 Years a Slave, y'all want to see another slave movie because we have to keep letting you guys know you guys were slaves and, that was your place back then. Hey, you want to see another movie? No, I don't want to see another slave movie. So yeah, I do go out of my way to not see that. So you have a lot of people who are complaining about this, yet they keep supporting it. And Netflix sees, okay, well, if you're sticking through the entire episode and you're going to the next one, you obviously enjoy it. Oh, no, I hate it. But I'm watching. If you're not a movie critic, if you're not doing this for a living, don't watch it. Just like how I don't watch it. You have a lot of people who've been to the military, Vietnam, whatever the case may be. Okay. And maybe they have PTSD. Or am I going to go and tell them to go watch American Sniper or Saving Private Ryan? No, I'm not going to tell them to go watch that. If it traumatizes them, if they have PTSD behind it, I'm not going to go and tell you, oh, yeah, you should go and watch this war movie. It'll be great. Even though I know you're traumatized by it, and it's something that really happened to you. You've seen a whole bunch of other people die and you may have seen someone else die, but go watch it. It's a good idea. No, I'm not going to tell you to do that because that's ridiculous. If you're traumatized by it, why would you watch it? So if you're traumatized by this, whether it happened to you, whether you knew someone who it happened to, or whatever the case may be, why would you go out of your way to watch it? And if you really don't like it, tell everyone don't watch it, and you included should not watch it. The only thing you should know about it is if you read something about it, possibly, or whatever little snippets like I showed you that Netflix puts up. That's how I feel about this whole thing. Something else that I was kind of thinking about in terms of, serial killers and whatnot. We also see a lot of, like our Hannibal Lecter movies and shows. We got our Bates Motels, we got our Dexters, we got the show You, which I'm like done with anyways, because it's doing too much. But we have all of these different kinds of shows that people are praising. It's like the same people that say this is exploitative, this is traumatic, this is terrible. We have serial killers. Yes, it happened in real life and we should not, be experiencing this or be exposed to it in any way, measure. But yeah, man, that You guy, ooh, he was fine, girl. Ooh, it was so good. He was so charming. And how'd you think that you could tell that this took from that. Having watched You and seeing this, he gets away because he's charming. Obviously, he's charming enough to get these guys in. So he's pulling from that. Oh, well, I don't want to see the real stuff that happened because that's just too traumatic. But I do want to see the fake stuff that pulls from the real stuff that happens in real life. We could look at Law and Order SVU, for example, as well. Okay, because on Law and Order SVU, oh goodness, they've gotten throughout the years. I think they're on like what, their 20th season, 25th season so far. They've been doing it for so long. They have to. I mean, there's no other choice they have but to pull from real life stuff that's happening. I've seen a few episodes where they've done it, and I'm like, okay, y'all ran out of ideas. There's nothing extra creative. All y'all are doing is reenacting what it is that I saw on the news, and I'm good. Want to know what I did? I didn't watch it. I didn't go and tell people, oh man, don't watch it, y'all. Don't watch it. You know, I didn't go and rant and say, oh, it's so terrible. I'm like, it's fine. You know, I'm like, I mean, if you guys are okay with that, obviously people are, otherwise they wouldn't be on the air anymore. But if you guys are okay with that and you guys like watching that, you guys enjoy watching it, kudos to you. I mean, who am I to tell you don't go and watch that, you know? But if this is something that is really bothering you, then I think this should also go not only towards the real life stuff, but also towards the fake stuff. Because if it's so exploitative, like I said, it's pulling. You could see similarities from real people who committed serious, real crimes to the people who are in, you know, the fiction. You know, the Hannibals, like I said, the Bates Motels, you know, the Dexters, you know, all of that over there, the U's, all of that. You could see that they pulled from different people or maybe just a direct copy. So what I would say is, how are you okay with, and I have a question, how are you okay with this, but not okay with this, even though this fake thing is pulling from real life experiences? That's what I am very much curious about. What's the difference? Oh, well, people are still alive. Look at slavery. Now you may say, oh, well, most black people who actually went through slavery aren't alive anymore. As we know, and I did a video on it, there is slavery still going on, especially in Africa. Okay. Obviously our prison system, but that's a whole different thing. But yeah, slavery is still going on, you guys. Do I want to go and continue seeing, as I'm being oppressed in my own country, how people are still exploiting us, how people are still locking us up? We're criminals no matter what. I don't want to see that, you know? So what I do is I don't support it. I just simply don't support it. But by watching something, you claim you don't support it, but then you keep buying into whatever it is that they're selling you. And then turn around and be like, well, I don't know why they keep selling it to me. Because you're watching it. You keep buying into what they're saying, you know? If like with the Nazis, for example, you know, if that bothers you, oh my goodness, I hate it. Well, stop watching those movies. Oh, but I really want to see it. Well, that's a personal choice, you know? So that's all I'm saying in regards to that. You have a choice whether or not, because it's not like this is something that you need. You know what I mean? It's not like gas, for example. Oh, I hate all the people who, you know, own these gas companies, but you need gas. You don't need to watch this, you know? So that's a huge difference as well. You have a tweet here. And it says, it's how we educate a new generation. I feel bad for the family still affected, but the crime was public. So it comes with the territory. They aren't insensitive for making it. If you can't handle it, then you should not watch. Why re-traumatize yourself? If it bothers you that much to the point where you're saying you're traumatized, just don't watch it. You know, and if you have people who feel the same way, tell them, hey, don't watch this. Don't watch it. Don't give them any of our support. That's how you fight back with these kind of things. Not keep talking about it. If it doesn't bother you, talk about it. You know, if you enjoy it, you enjoy it. You know, for the acting purposes, for the storytelling and how they did it. Not saying like you're glorifying a serial killer, but just like for Evan Peters, his performance in this, you know, stuff like that. As we seen with that movie Blonde. From what I heard, it was not that great, but you have the main lead in there where people really enjoyed her. She really sold it. The story may not have been great, but there's certain aspects about it that people did like. So yeah, I mean, that's just something that I found to be interesting. Another thing that I found to be interesting, because I was just typing something in and then I'm like, oh, what the heck is this? You know how you go on Google Images and they show you other stuff? And I'm like, that can't be real. It's real. And they have not just him. It's a whole bunch of other people that have done mass murders, and they're putting them on earrings on Amazon.com. It's in the handmade section of it. Now that's messed up. I mean, if we're going to get mad, that's something that should not be allowed on there. Just like if you go to Germany, you can't go and buy little Nazi, swastikas and Nazi memorabilia. You can't do that. If you can't do that over there, and they obviously have, it's much worse than what this guy did, but still, you should not be able to buy that kind of stuff over here. Okay. But that's neither here or there. Okay. So I'm actually going to get into, I guess you can say, like the review portion of this video. It is 10 episodes. Each episode is almost an hour long. So you're looking at between about 46 minutes to an hour 5, give or take on average, somewhere in between per episode. I've only made it between episode 1 and almost through 5. I have like 10 minutes left of that last episode. And I was just watching it and whatnot. And I'm like, okay. Evan Peters, his performance is really, really good. Niecy Nash, I like what they did with her, having her as the neighbor. Her performance was very well as well. Everyone in that entire show was good. Now, what I will say is the pacing of it is a bit much. Okay. So after watching it, it first starts out, no spoilers or anything in here. I mean, I don't think you could even really spoil this, but the first episode starts out, quote unquote, his last day of crime. Okay, it was 1991. This is when they caught him. Okay, the one that got away, this is the one that, this is where they ended up catching him. Okay, on the crime that he committed. Okay, or was about to commit anyways. So you go and you look at that. That's what the first episode is. And then the second episode kind of like goes back in time. You see his childhood, not much of it, but you see enough that you get the gist. Okay, let's move on. And then we go back into what happens a little bit later. And then we go into present time. He's arrested. Then we go back in time and then we see some more crimes. And then we go back in the present time. And then we go back. And I was like, okay, I see what you guys are doing. It's a bit much because for me, and I talked about true crimes, can they be exploitative? And what I will say, for the most part, just giving people information, that's not exploitative. But doing the most, and this is what I will argue this was doing, nothing against people's performances, just the whole directing and the length of it. This did not need to be 10 episodes, an hour long almost each. Okay? That's 10 hours of Dahmer. We didn't need that, y'all. Really, they could have done either 30-minute episodes if you're going to make them 10 hours. 10 minutes. We could do 30-minute episodes if you're going to make them 10 episodes. Or we could have done 5 and made them an hour. Okay? I should have already been done with this. But now you're adding on more. And I get they're trying to show how sick-minded this guy was and how crazy this guy was. I get that. But at the end of the day, when you start allowing for this, that is when I would argue, yes, it can be a bit exploitative, because it happened, as you see. What Nazi film, whether it's Schindler's List, is 5-10 hours long, y'all? None. I haven't seen one that's that long. Any slave movie, name me one that's 5 to 10 hours long. None. Because you're not going to see it. So the fact that you guys are putting in a TV show, fine. If that's the format you want to use, because Netflix, they love their TV shows. That's perfectly fine by me. But the fact that you're not just putting it in this and you're doing it in a different way, but the fact that you're not just cutting off, trimming the fat, and you're like, well, let's just make it 10 episodes in an hour. that comes off as exploitative. Now, like I said, I have not finished it. So yeah, it may end up being one of those things where it's kind of, maybe it's not that bad. Maybe, towards the end, they start bringing in real stuff that happened in terms of like real footage or whatnot. I haven't made it that far, but from what I've seen, it seems a little exploitative because of the length of it. I get where the character, how they wanted the direction of the character to be, but how they're going about doing it, it is taking a little longer than I thought, which then makes it to me, okay, this is really a money grab. Okay, if you would have made it 3 hours, 4 hours, fine, I would not be saying anything, but the fact that it goes on for so long, and it is a slow pace. Well, I wouldn't even say it's a slow pace. It's a quiet, serial killers are not extremely loud, but it is relatively quiet. And then when it picks up, it picks up, and it picks up pretty quickly. But I just, I see where they're going with it. It was a bit long, and it still is a bit long to me. The story, everything's, it's fine with it, but it just did seem like it was a little bit long, and I'm just like, okay, well, I don't know about that. Overall, I did enjoy what I saw, but it's just, it obviously it's not for everybody. If you're not into seeing this kind of stuff, which I'm not even, the kind of stuff that I watch would be like on ID, investigation, discovery, and whatnot. I'm not usually like, okay, let me go and target into like a infamous serial killer or anything like that. But because people were talking about it, I was like, well, let me go and see, what the hoopla is about with it. It looks nice. Everything on here looks nice. Direction of it looks good. They kept with the time and whatnot. But yes, I will say they also brought in certain things that I enjoyed that they did bring in. And so it could get people talking about in terms of racism. No one was looking for an Asian, Latino, or a black dude as opposed to a white guy. All right. So it's like it showed why he was in a certain area so he could get his prey, essentially. So it showed that. OK, it also showed how just because, there's a cop there does not mean that he's going to be on your side. And there's a line in there where a black dude was like, the cop was like, yeah, you should know about jail, because, pretty much like, look at you should know. And then the black dude was like, one, I've never been to prison, jail, none of that. He said, and you would rather take a white dude's side who has gone to jail as opposed to my side, and I'm black, who has never gone to jail. And you're going to tell me he's innocent. He did nothing wrong, and I'm the problem, So it was a lot of different things that went on in here that were very well done. And I thought it was portrayed very well. If I had to give what I saw so far a rating, I would give it about a 7.5 so far, just out of 10. And until then.